Welcome back. We're still on the Polity on our special live telecast in the build-up to the Anambra 2021 gubernatorial election set to hold on Saturday, November 6. Right now, we've been joined by a guest to speak on the build-up, like we've said, and the specificities, pardon me, of this Anambra election and what his particular candidate is bringing to the table. I'm talking about PDP member Moses Idika. Is here in the studio to speak with us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Before we get into it, I'd just like to tell our viewers one more that our phone lines are open and you can call in to make your contributions or ask your question. All right, Mr. Moses, while the program started, we had a situation report from our correspondent in Anambra, and he said things are peaceful right now, and nothing is untoward at the moment. The security presence. What's your analysis of the situation so far, and how do you expect things to go between now and Saturday?
Well, the Anambra election of November 6 is quite a challenging one in that series of happenings have, put the election in the front burner. The agitation of the IPOB in the southeast, and the way they sit at homes, the recent surge in violent attacks on people, innocent persons, and security agencies. But then it's a constitutional matter, and the government, the INEC, all the government bodies constitutionally empowered to take care of the election, they are all preparing for the election. So definitely the election is going to hold from all indications. Perhaps there may be some people who may not come out for fear of being harmed, but then the election will go on.
Now, do you see any possibility of the sit-at-home order disrupting this election?
Just like I said, yes, the sit-at-home order has succeeded thus far because of the fear factor. Even though IPOB at a point, before now it was every Monday in the 5 states of the Southeast. But after, when the impact of that sit-at-home started telling on the economy of the Southeast, the IPOB itself reversed itself and said, okay, no more, we are no longer going to be having every Monday sit-at-home. But due to some other issues that came up, they are saying, we heard that the IPOB has announced that there's going to be sit-at-home for a lengthy 4 days, but all the same, the federal government, the police have deployed massively, around 34,000 personnel to buffer the confidence of the electorate in Anambra State that they can actually come out and exercise their civic rights. And then they are also supported by other security agencies like the civil defense, the Nigerian military, and of course the intelligence agency. So we are sure, we hope that the election will come without too much issues. Oh,
okay. Now your party, the People's Democratic Party, has brought forward Valentine Ozigbo as their party candidate for this gubernatorial election. Now, what would you say are the reasons why your party particularly chose him as the candidate for this gubernatorial election?
Yeah, Valentine Ozigbo actually emerged. He wasn't just chosen, he emerged victorious in a very, very transparent primary election that was contested by other very prominent members of the PDP. But he came tops, and then he's the candidate of the party. And of course, he emerged for various reasons. He's someone whom the people trust. Members of the party first, they trust him because of everybody contesting the current election in Anambra State. Val Ozigbo is one man who stands out. You can't trace a debt to him as far as this contest is concerned. So he's the man to beat.
Right. When you say you can't trace a death to him, some persons might actually translate it to the other way, which is that it seems to be of amongst the candidates, the major candidates anyway, to be the least known in the public space, for politically speaking anyway. We have others who have held political positions and all that, but I don't know how popular he was prior to his, not within the party now, I mean generally in terms of politics and not just business, because he has made his name as a quite a great businessman. We've seen him a banker and all that. And so how do you say that how do you see him, or how do you feel people can have hope or faith in him when they can't possibly trace so much political history to him?
It's actually an advantage for him, because every other person, most of the contestants, as things stand today, are professional politicians. That's whom true. People know, okay, this person has been here, this person has been here. But Val Ozigbo is someone who has distinguished himself in the private sector, who has developed strong work ethics. And those are the things that the people of Anambra State already saw in him. And I say, yes, this is the man we need. So it is not a disadvantage that he has not been in politics all this while. This is someone who is coming to translate his experiences, his skills, his well-recognized skills in managing resources and people into the politics of Anambra State. Because actually government is a serious business, so it shouldn't just be left in the hands of politicians who are willing at every point in time to do whatever it takes. I mean, this is someone who is bringing that idea, a target-driven approach to governance, that in education we should be here at this point in time. Within the health sector, this is what we should do. Creating wealth, which is actually what he's very vast in. I mean, these are some of the qualities that stand him out. So it's not a disadvantage, it's rather an advantage for him.
All right, I want to add something. Okay. We know for about 16 years the PDP were in power on the federal level, and then in between we've had some states going back and forth and all that. Now in Anambra specifically, for some time now, APGA has been the dominant party there. How do you see this realistically? How much chance do you actually give your party? How well do you see them doing to upend this the current status quo as it is?
Yes, you see, principally Anambra State is dominantly a PDP state. But over the years, what happens is the party goes into the election a divided house. But for the first time now, you see, we had a rancor-free primary. Before now, you have parallel congresses. A candidate emerges from this faction, another candidate emerges from that faction, and then the house is divided. And APGA always had this strategy of, burrowing into the division in the party, trading with a faction of the party, and then making up their number. Of course, you give it to APGA, they've been in the state, so definitely they are going to have, they have some roots. But you find out that in the last general election, PDP won 2 senatorial zones. That is 2/3 of the state. And of course, where the other party, YPP emerged in Anambra South, basically because of the characters of the people that were contesting, which included this Andy Uba that is contesting under APC, because the people of Anambra South at that point in time felt that, no, we've had enough of these people. These people have been, they have made us to be running around in a circle. So for that reason,
including the PDP.
No, not necessarily the PDP, but the characters that's, that were the standard bearer, you understand, of the party at that point in time. So it was a protest vote that brought Senator Ifeanyi Ubah to the Senate. So But now, in this current dispensation, you find out that all the 3 senatorial districts of Anambra State, they are united in their support for Val Ozigbo. The party is united across all the 21 local governments and 371 wards in the state. So we know very well that the votes definitely will count this time around, because INEC is taking notes and PDP is on ground. Anambra people are already tired of ABGA, because 15 years later, Anambra State is a state with impassable roads, a state that with all the wealth abundant in the state, you can't be proud. You can't proudly say there's a government in place. So Val Ozigbo and the PDP are here now. Is the rallying point of Anambra people, the uniting factor for Anambra people. So I know very well that by Saturday, PDP is going to be victorious in the election.
Well, you know, earlier you spoke about experiences, and now you're saying PDP is going to be victorious in the election. Now, speaking of experiences, who would you say is the most experienced in all of the candidates who are topping the list at this point? And you know, we have Anduba of the APC, we have Chukuma Soludo, we have Godwin Maduka, Valentine Ozigbo of the PDP, Ifeanyi Obiora Okonkwo, Obiora Agbasimelo, and Ben Atigwa and Sullivan Wampo. Out of these 9 people I just mentioned, who are topping the list at this point, so who would you say is the most experienced, and why do you feel so confident that PDP will win at the end of the day? Yes,
you see, every of the candidates are experienced in their own ways. Some are even experienced in not too good, you know, things. But Val stands out beyond his experience in the private sector, in the management of material and human resources. The humility in him, the accessibility, the relatability he has with people. Of course, it's surprising to a lot of people that he is like Val just happened to Anambra people, because before now, we didn't have a Val Ozigbo contesting for any election in Anambra State. But here he is, and the followership is, you can't just quantify it. Everybody believes that this is the man we have to, let us trust him.
But then he's not the most experienced.
I don't see any other person who is more experienced than he is.
Okay.
Oh, that is fair. It's good you have confidence. Now, this is a question I like to pose to all the parties whenever I can get to speak to someone from there. There are talks that the IPOB agitation, the sit-at-home orders, in a way, would favor certain parties over others. How do you think that affects the PDP's chances? Did you think it's actually an anathema to PDP, or it is, or your party might actually be one of those parties who is favored by, you know, the increased voter apathy?
Well, voter apathy is an ill wind that does no one any good. You understand? So some people may want to, why the fear in Anambra State is what happened in Imo State, where suddenly people, the Supreme Court declared someone who clearly didn't win the election as the winner of the election. But Anambra people, the electorate in Anambra, all the parties concerned, everybody is on their, nobody is letting their guard down. We are not going to give any chance for someone to, because now, good enough, INEC has told us that they are going to test run the seamless transmission of result from the polling unit to perhaps a central system. So we already know in every polling unit, we will know the accredited voters, the number of voters, the registered and the accredited, and those who actually voted. And the result is going to be declared on the spot. So the collation is now a collective thing. It's not just for INEC to collate, because all the parties, they have their agents at the polling unit. So INEC is not going to produce a result different from what the agents of the party, of the parties, even the observers, you know, see at the venue of the polling unit. So the agitation, the sit at home, is quite unfortunate because it's happening now. But then people still have to exercise their constitutional rights. But we keep telling people, well, agitation aside, this you can't leave Anambra State fallow, ungoverned. So definitely, this is a constitutional duty that must be done.
Yes.
All right. Just
okay.
Go ahead. Okay. One more thing. How do you see it turning out in terms of now the PDP is, would I say, obviously they're one of the major parties right now, but how do you see your acceptance of the results based on the fact that there are a lot of new things happening in Anambra now? We have the I can't quite remember the name, but there's a new tech that is being used there. We know the incident form has been removed and all that. So it seems like and also INEC has been allowed to transmit electronically. We do have a call.
Hello. You're on to KAFTAN TV. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello, this is KAFTAN TV. What's your name and where are you calling from?
All right. So as I was saying, how do you see the acceptance of the result, being that it seems as in this particular election, INEC has done the most to make it one of the most credible ever. So do you see the PDP accepting whatever outcome comes out of this?
Of course, the PDP has nurtured democracy in Nigeria up to this stage. So no one scatters a house he built. So PDP, of course, we've lost some elections in some states. We've won. In those states we lost, we accepted. In those states where we lost and where we were declared losers, but we felt strongly that we actually won the election, of course, we took the route approved by the Constitution. We went to the tribunal, to the courts. Some of the cases got decided at the Supreme Court. So definitely PDP as a law-abiding party, as a democratic party, as a party that believes in the rule of law, we accept the result.
Right. That's very fair.
Well, it's in the news today that the Anambra State governorship candidates have signed a peace accord. How do you react to this? How do you think this is going to turn out?
Yes, it's a good omen because at the end of the day, you read out the names of the contestants, but one person is going to emerge. Several persons contested with Willie Obiano, both in his first tenure and the second tenure. He still emerged the winner. And of course, governance is a continuum. Someone has to be the governor at every point in time. Not everyone that indicated interest will become the governor. So it is a natural process in a democracy that some will lose, some will win. I believe that the loss of someone validates the victory of another person. So there's no problem with that.
All right. Okay.
Well, it seems like also still in the news today, 86 polling units have been deactivated because it's said that there are no voters in those 86 polling units at this point. How do you react to this?
Yeah, you know, there could be several reasons to that, because especially with the security challenges in Anambra State, if you have a far-flung polling unit that has a very few number of voters who could be susceptible to attacks, I think it's a reasonable thing that they could be merged with a nearer one that could be protected, and where they will have there can be some polling units in some isolated areas. No one will feel confident to go cast their vote there for fear of the unknown. So it is not an issue. There are thousands of other polling units in the state where people are going to exercise their franchise. So it's not a problem.
All right, that's fair. So I think that's most of it, but maybe I can move a little bit from Anambra to a wider topic now. You mentioned while you were talking about how the PDP has approached this election in the previous cycles, was that there wasn't enough unity. So now let's take it to the PDP convention that just concluded. We've seen a lot of your members being very proud that...
Well, let's take this call before we get into that. Okay. lost
Right.
it.
So we've seen a lot of your members, you know, they're very proud at the moment. They're very happy and confident that there were no hitches, so to speak, in the convention. And so we've also heard at the moment, Senator Ayo actually took over. I think one of the first things he said was that the APC has over 90 factions, you know. So in that respect, do you think as the APC is now, they are less positioned to win, in that they seem to have so many divisions, and the PDP seems to be, as it seems at the moment, to be together in a manner of speaking?
Yes, well, whatever is happening in PDP is strictly their internal affairs. They could factionalize to 1 million factions. It's none of our business. What we have done in the PDP is that, yes, we've made some mistakes in the past, and we are working on it. It's a continuous process. And one of the results, you remember some months back, PDP inaugurated a reconciliation and strategy committee. What you saw in that convention is one of the outcomes of that committee, where every aggrieved or even a happy member of the party is brought together, and then we look at the bigger picture. Because as of today, PDP is the only hope Nigeria has. In the last 6 years, we have seen how easy it is to squander whatever you've got in the last 20 years as a democratic nation. So the PDP is strictly and solely focused in rescuing Nigeria through winning the next general election and putting the country back on the path of growth and prosperity.
All right, let's end it with this. Finally, what do you say to the people of Anambra right now as they are planning for Saturday?
And how do you foresee that Saturday is going to be the electoral process?
Well, I foresee a peaceful election. Not everybody will agree, but I foresee a peaceful election because this has to be done. Then to the electorate in Anambra State, mine is just to encourage them to boldly go out and cast their votes. The future of Anambra State depends on this election.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses. It was very insightful having you here and, you know, shedding more light on the matters. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Right now, we'll go for a quick break. We'll actually be showing you now a documentary of how governance has been in Anambra, or how the governors have moved. It's quite interesting that there have been more governors of Anambra State than there have been presidents of Nigeria. So take a quick look at this documentary. When we return, the live telecast continues.